I always like to leave, and I think this is vital with stories, I always like to leave a little corner of my mind open. This could be true. Why can't the fairies exist, we'll say? Now, I could say to the people who believe in God, that's completely irrational. Do you ever meet him? Huh? When do these dead people that you pray for come back to thank you? And, in most cases, no. But, there again, you have to keep your mind open. Maybe there are such things as miracles. We're told that there are. And if there are such things as miracles, on the other hand, look at all the suicide bombers you have now that blow themselves up in the name of their God. They believe in something. I mightn't agree with it, and it's not a nice thing. And that maybe it's a perverted belief. But it's all in the other world. And it can have terrible repercussions here in this world. And I keep that in mind all the time when I'm either telling the stories or whether I'm collecting them. Some of the people I collect these stories from are very, very, very convincing people. I don't believe all the stories I hear. No way. I'd be as sceptical, and maybe more sceptical than most people, because I've been listening to them for over 30 years. But there's always that little percentage that, when it comes down to that, you can't dismiss so easily.
I grew up in a state in Australia that banned all civil liberties my last year at high school.
In 1991, Kieran was arrested for breaking into a US Army hangar during the Gulf War and causing millions of dollars worth of damage to a B-52 bomber. For this, he served 13 months in prison. More recently, in 2004, ploughshares were involved in an NVDA act in Shannon Airport, attacking a US Navy plane headed for Iraq. After 2 mistrials, the jury concluded that they had acted to save lives and property in both Iraq and Ireland, and Kieran was acquitted.
This was a new hammer. I think Damien bought this in Dublin. And what we often do is inscribe things. So Karen and Ewan, I think, this is a slogan by one of the Berrigans, or an insight rather than a slogan. If they come for the innocent without stepping over your body, cursed be your religion and your life. So that's the mattock, as we call it in Australia, that Ewan initially used on the runway before I plucked it from our hands and tried to open the door of the hangar with it, and then used it on the plane. This one put a stop to war, and that would have been a hammer we purchased specifically for this action. In Dublin, I guess we could do an ad for the hardware store. This one is the one with the history. This has done about $7 million American damage to B-52. We then sent it to England, and Chris Cole walked into British Aerospace wearing a white lab coat with British Aerospace Disarmament Division, Chris Cole, and he damaged equipment that British Aerospace was sending to Northern Ireland and East Timor to the Indonesians, and that has Maranatha and with the original B-52 swords into ploughshares, and a quote from the Pope. So this would have been inscribed when we did the action the first time: "No more war, war never again." Pope Paul VI. Like, I still get nervous doing vigils, because I was bashed as a 17-year-old for doing them.
Really?
Yeah, I still have, whatever happens in your formative years stays with you, I think.
Our wedding day. That was 1973.
That was a difficult time, particularly for you there.
Yeah, it was really, because my parents didn't approve of mixed marriage in those days. It was called interchurch marriages.
Interchurch marriages were not approved of in certain places.
And they weren't at all happy about us getting married. In fact, my mother had to be persuaded to go to the wedding.
Yes.
She wasn't actually going to go that morning. She wasn't.
You didn't know whether your parents were actually going to attend the church until they arrived there. She didn't.
No.
Poor dear.
Your mother was great support, wasn't she?
But she went through difficult moments as well.
But of course, going back to all those years ago, things were much different, very much different in those days.
They weren't as liberal, and people didn't have as open a mind. But to be fair to your mum and dad, we won them around, and it didn't take us too long, and then they were. Your mum and dad were both.
They couldn't have been nicer.
They couldn't have been nicer or done more for us.
Scientology Ireland has its main offices here on Abbey Street. Although the office has been scaled down in recent times, I'm here today to talk to its spokesperson, Gerard Ryan.
Hi, James. Hi. The actual word Scientology means the study of knowledge. Everyone just goes science or then scientific. No, actually, science comes from the word "scia," which means to know, and so on and so forth. So it actually just means the study of knowledge.
You obviously classify Scientology as a religion.
Yes.
The way it kind of comes across is more of a philosophy rather than a religion in many respects.
Obviously, if one looks to the definition of religion, we actually describe God as infinity. You see, we don't have the idea of an interventionist God. One achieves salvation by one's own efforts. You know, I cannot save you. See, such that you must
save yourself.
You must save yourself. These are the audio lectures that we listen to. See, right? These are CDs. You know, so grammar is a big thing with us too because of this study that we do. We find that one of the greatest difficulties is the understanding of grammar is abysmal. From our point of view, we are trying to create a civilization on Earth in which there's no war and there's no crime and there's no insanity.